Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole, ably represented by the Attorney General and Honorable Commissioner for Justice, Principal Officers of the Loyola Joseph School, Music College, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. A few months ago, one of the parents of one of the graduating students here, who's also staff of the Central Bank, came to ask me if I would accept to be the commencement speaker at LJC. And I told him it would be a great honor. I don't know how many people know this about me, but at the age of 8, my father took me to a boarding Catholic school in Kenya. And I tell all the people who don't like me and who think I'm too tough that they should blame me for my Catholic education. I'm a graduate of St. Anne's, and I'm a very proud graduate of that school. And I've always said that there are things you learn in schools you don't learn in other schools. And when you go through life, it is that added dimension. I'm sure you've all washed your clothes, scrubbed the floors, you've all lived the Spartan lives. You've all been told that the material is ephemeral and temporary, and that life is about service. And all that is far more important than anything else you have learned. Whenever I speak to young men and women who just graduated and about to start life as you proceed with graduates and then work, I go back to my days, both in St. Anne's and later in King's College, and the vision and the dream that we had for this country. And I go back to what our country used to be. And I long for the years when we all were each other's keepers, when we saw each other as brothers and sisters, and when we did not allow ourselves to be divided so viciously by things that are totally unimportant. When I was in Form 4 in King's College, I had the choice to study Islamic religious knowledge or Bible knowledge. I picked Bible knowledge. I was top of my class. I finished my O-levels with a distinction in Bible knowledge. And I still remember, for those of you who the syllabus is still probably the same, Genesis 12, 1 to 9. I still remember all I memorized in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. Starting from, and the Lord said to Abraham, go from your country and your people and your father's house, and which I will show you. And for the New Testament, the Gospel of St. Luke and Acts of the Apostles. The point I'm making is, coming from a Muslim background, you must know this. In the Catholic school, every morning we read Our Father, we said Hail Mary, I still say the Hail Mary, I still say Our Father, I still read the Bible. So, what is it that has changed in this country? What is it that has happened in the last 20, 30 years where things that were normal have now become abnormal? And the only people who can change it are people like you and me. Nobody is going to come and change our country for us. This is a country that has always had great potential. When I was in the primary school, we spoke about the potentials of Nigeria. Secondary school, we spoke about the potentials of Nigeria. University, the same thing. I started work, we talked about potentials. Today, we are in 2011. We are still speaking about the potentials of Nigeria. In 1960, per capita income of this country was higher than the per capita income of South Korea. Where is South Korea today? In the 1960s, the Malaysians came to Nigeria and took palm seeds from us. Malaysia is the leading exporter of palm oil, and we are importing from Malaysia. When I was in the Sudan, as part of an adventure, I decided to go by road across the country. And I was surprised at how many people at different bus stops were speaking Hausa. And when I asked them, where did they come from originally? They said the British came to Western Sudan, found that the climate was good for cotton, came to northern Nigeria, took cotton farmers and cotton seeds from here to take to the Sudan. Today, the yield per hectare in cotton in Sudan is 10 times the yield per hectare in Nigeria. We are the 7th largest producer of crude oil in the world, and we import petroleum products. We have huge gas reserves. We do not have our own power. We are the #1 producer of cassava in the world. We import starch. We have a large cotton belt. We import fabric and textiles from China. We have iron and steel deposits. We do not produce our own flat sheets. We have a huge tomato belt in Kano that can produce 3-4 million metric tons of tomato per annum. We import tomato paste from China. We have land that can produce rice. We are importing rice from India. And for your information, the rice we import from India is at least 5 years old from grain reserves under Indian law. Now, this is the conversation that we should have as Nigerians. This is the discussion that we should have. Not about Muslims versus Christian or Northerner versus Southerner. We should say, how do we fix these problems? My message to you and to all graduating students is that the beginning of service is the recognition that this country today is not where it ought to be, and that we have it within ourselves, and we have been given all the opportunities to transform our lives and the lives of 150 million people who are looking up to us. Many of us have been privileged. I always say that I have been privileged. I was lucky to have gone to St. Anne's. I was lucky to have gone to King's College. I had an education here in Nigeria. I was on scholarship. You've got 140 million Nigerians who today cannot have the opportunities that we had. Many of us have to send our children to private schools because the government schools will not give them the education that we had on the way through schools. Our responsibility and the responsibility of these children is to use that education and ask themselves, how can we make this education available to those who can afford to go to private schools? How can we provide medical care in Nigeria for those who cannot afford to take themselves to the UK and Germany? We are going to Cairo today for medical treatment. We're going to Dubai. What has happened to us as a country? So what I say to you, and this is what I was brought up to think, and this I'm sure is what you have been taught to believe,